And he sang praises after being stoned, beaten, and he sang praises. And I said to her, I said, is that in the Bible? And she said, yeah, it's Acts chapter 16. I said, you can't possibly sing after you've been stoned and beaten. She said, he worshiped God. I said, that's the God I'm going to know.
And welcome to 100 Huntley Street. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have another great program in store for you.
Yeah, now, is it too soon to talk about Christmas? I mean, I think we're just over a month away. I kind of feel like we're into it now.
Yeah, we're past halfway into November, so I think it's okay. It's kosher.
It's kosher.
Does that make sense?
Okay. Okay, sure, Joe. But it is a time of year that a lot of people overindulge. It makes it challenging not to overindulge. There's dinners and foods and gifts.
All banquets and parties and all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Right? So, but one of the controversial aspects of food at Christmas is Christmas cake. So yes or no?
Are we going to go there?
We're going to go there.
All right.
Oh.
Well, my opinion has evolved over time.
Okay.
When I was younger, I was not team Christmas cake. I thought it was gross. I believe there was only one Christmas cake in all of existence, and people just passed it on to each other from year to year and never had to bake another one. And then I got a little bit older, and as your taste buds change, I'm like, oh, this is actually, it's a nice, rich flavor. I started to enjoy it.
Okay.
But now, as a diabetic, I can't enjoy it, so my opinion doesn't really matter. What about you?
Okay, well, that's just true overall. Just kidding. Just kidding. Okay, so my mom makes Christmas cake passed down from my grandma. And it's a lot. Like even just stirring it with all of those ingredients in it, it's like actually really hard. So if she makes Christmas cake, I absolutely love it and appreciate it, and it's just memories for me. But there is still a ton of demand for that hunk of cake all across Canada, as one Saskatchewan baker found out.
Yeah, so Jim Hatfield from Milestone, Saskatchewan, he's been baking out of his home for 6 years. And check this out. He starts taking Christmas cake orders in June, and he closes it in September. I mean, that's a lot. And I think his last year he did 724 fruitcakes.
Right?
That's a lot.
He says that's the limit. He can't go anymore. He delivers them by mail, and people are ordering them from one coast to the other, from BC to Newfoundland to the Northwest Territories, like literally everywhere.
I've gotten a lot of cool packages in the mail before. I don't know that a Christmas cake has been one of them. And so he can make about 20 cakes a day. He uses 2 ovens, and he starts at 4 o'clock in the morning, and it takes 3.5 hours each. Like, that's a lot of commitment to Christmas cake.
Christmas cake is a lot for everyone out there who's made them, and he doesn't have a secret recipe. He took his mom's recipe, combined with another, and just tweaked them a little bit.
Okay, so if you want in for next year's cakes, he's going to start taking orders in April, but he can't increase his number. So if you want to get in, you got to get in now.
Wow. Okay, so just find Jim's Cakes and Christmas Fruit Cakes on Facebook, and you can order yours.
Yeah, well, listen, you saw at the top of the program a little bit of the interview that you're going to have later in the show. It's an incredible testimony. And you sit down with this woman who found faith later in life, and she followed God's call to start an amazing outreach in Mexico, proof that it's never too late to make a difference. So stay with us.
November is Adoption Awareness Month in Canada, a time to honor the families who've said yes to opening their hearts and homes, and to remember that God's heart beats for every child.
My guest today had terrible experiences with the church and people of faith, so much so that she hated God. So, how did Dorothy Greatrex end up heading a Christian shelter for women in Baja, Mexico? Well, that's quite a story, and we're going to dive into it right now. Dorothy, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. The pleasure's mine.
Let's start at 5 years old. You lost your parents. Can you tell me what happened?
They died in a car accident. I had no idea they had died. And there was this big tent set up in the churchyard because Mom and Dad were not welcome in the church. Dad was an illegitimate child, so he was labeled bad blood. And I don't know if that was the reason why the tent, but there was this big tent in the parking lot, and I fell asleep with my head in my sister's lap. And all of a sudden, we all walked over to, there was two boxes, and I was told to go look, and there's Mom and Dad. And it was weird because they were sleeping, but they didn't look right. They closed the boxes, put them in a hole, started throwing dirt. I lost my sanity.
Yeah, that was the first moment you realized they were not coming back.
Why would you put them in a hole? I tried to climb in the hole. I don't know who caught me, but that was reality. They were gone.
Yeah. And to make matters worse, you went to go look at a really cool car and climbed in thinking that you were just going to go for a ride.
Yeah.
But that was actually your first foster family. Like, you just drove away. You didn't say goodbye to your siblings. You didn't have any chance to process it.
And all these cars came, and there was some nice cars. I always loved cars. And I was looking at this car, and this lady said, "Do you want to go for a ride?" And I said, "Yes." I had no idea what it was about. But that ride didn't stop. When I realized I wasn't going back home, I tried to get up, but they had anticipated that. There were 2 teenagers, one on each side of me. And the car, we just continued it. I can't tell you how many times I tried to run away and find my way home, but
And you couldn't run away.
I couldn't run away.
And they were actually a good family, but in the end, they also abandoned you.
Right. They thought, now I've never really understood if they were going to Arizona or Mexico, which was the plan. Apparently he was asthmatic, and they had to leave the prairies. So, but at the border, everything changed. I wasn't allowed to cross. They thought they had legally adopted me, and something wasn't right.
Unfortunately, things don't get better. You referenced the next foster family when you said it wasn't good. Like, your foster dad sexually abused you.
Yes.
And you were 9?
Yes.
How were you processing as a kid all this abandonment, all this abuse that you were experiencing?
This is where I say the first 5 years are so crucial. I had a foundation. I had roots. Because I do believe if I hadn't had that, I would have really gone astray. But the love of mom and dad as an infant gives you a strength that you can't measure.
Yeah, you knew that you mattered.
Yeah.
So moving on, you're a very naive girl. Even though you were sexually abused, no one taught you about life, men, just how to deal with things. And you ended up pregnant. How old were you when you were pregnant?
Well, that was later in life. I was 17, just turned 17.
17. And your delivery was really traumatizing too.
That was nasty.
And they actually made you give birth in a closet.
Yeah.
Very traumatizing. And, for you who didn't know anything, like these wounds, the way that you were treated throughout life, the many people that betrayed you, you spent years hating God.
Yeah.
What was Dorothy like, when you were in that season as you went through the decades hating him? Because it was well into your 50s.
Yeah, I didn't want anything to do with religion. If this is what churches are, I don't want anything. And I could not see why people ever went to church, because you're a bunch of traitors. You have no idea what life really is.
Yeah.
But I still don't want religion. I want relationship.
So unpack that for me, because you were, 59? You
Right.
went to Greece,
Yeah,
and you were on a tour.
right.
Now, you heard the story of Paul.
Acts chapter 16.
So tell me what happened.
We were in a tour bus of 53 people, and there were 2 other ladies and myself. We were the only Canadians. But it was fascinating to see the number of gods. People were worshiping and lighting candles and praying and weeping, and the emotions were intense. And then one day we pull up beside this pile of rubble. As far as you can see, it's just rocks. And I said, I'm not interested in rocks. I'll stay in the nice air-conditioned bus. And the tour guide said, no, everybody's getting out. The only book she picked up was the Bible. And I thought, that's weird. So we all got out. We walked around the very far side of the rocks, and she read Acts chapter 16. There's 3 prison cells. You could see where the feet were shackled, and either Paul was extremely short or he had to be hunched over. So he was bent over, obviously, in my opinion. And he sang praises after being stoned, beaten, and he sang praises. And I said to her, is that in the Bible? And she said, yeah, it's Acts chapter 16. I said, you can't possibly sing after you've been stoned and beaten. She said, he worshiped God. I said, that's the God I want to know. Who is this God? And my journey changed. I have no idea how I survived those first 59 years without him. Because seeking this God, I still have not reached the level that Paul was at. I don't sing when things go wrong. I don't sing praises. I still have pity parties. But I want to be like Paul. I want that depth of a relationship.
So there you are, this girl with decades of abandonment, mistreatment, trauma in your life, and you meet Jesus in Athens all by yourself. Yeah. And the whole tour went back to the bus. You were still there. What changed in Dorothy? Who are you? What's different about you today than pre that moment?
I didn't realize how much I had changed until several months later, because I was on a panic search. Who is this God? And it was such an amazing journey to find out who is this God. And the Bible was alive. It was a joy to read the Bible. It was a joy to find out who Paul was and how he, in that moment on his journey, how he changed. And really, that's my appetite changed. I no longer wanted the singles clubs. You know, all the things that had been so important before, it all changed.
And you had a lot of healing to do, because not only what had been done to you, but what about forgiving all those people who had hurt you over the years and abandoned you? Like, what was that journey like?
What a journey that was. And the Bible's so clear. If somebody has offended you, go to them and ask for forgiveness. How do you do that? But until you do it, you can't heal.
I can't imagine what that must have been like for you. And, you know, now, fast forwarding your life, you head up a shelter for women who've experienced trafficking, exploitation, domestic abuse, those kinds of things in Baja, Mexico. And I'm sure you have to lead a lot of them on journeys of forgiveness as well.
Yes.
What was that like for you? You were 70 when you felt like God was calling you to do this.
I had no idea I was being called to do anything. I did not realize that. And Irma called me in 2003, can you come and help me? And she said, you are a Christian? And I said, yes. And so I came to Mexico to help her. That's life-changing. I worked in a Las Esperanzas, which is a rehab prison center. 41 women in that one room, one broken toilet, no sanitary supplies.
Wow.
No toilet paper, nothing. And the youngest girl in there was 13. Why would a 13-year-old be in a lockdown facility?
Yeah.
So one day I went in with all the supplies for foot washing. And it's absolutely amazing what happens when somebody washes your feet. So life-changing. After a few minutes, everybody was either giving or getting. They were embracing. A few of them were even praying.
So what happened next?
This little 13-year-old grabbed me and she hugged me. She said, help me. That day, there was nothing I could do. But I vowed I would never walk away from a 13-year-old again. She's the seed. I've never seen her again. But that was what happened that day. And I thought, I can open a halfway house. I'm still today not qualified, but I'm willing. And because God doesn't need the qualified, He qualifies the weak. And it's been life-changing.
How many years have you been running this shelter, and what does it do?
We're 12 years old now. And what we want the women to understand, they're not mistakes. When they come in with the labels that nobody should ever have to wear, we read Isaiah 45, where God says, you're a hidden treasure. I will give you a title of honor because I know you by name. This is our foundation. You're not a mistake. God has a plan for you. Let's find out what it is.
Yeah, these women come in so broken, having experienced things that even with your background and what you've experienced shocks you still to this day. Can you just give me one story of somebody who's come in and what you've seen God do in her life?
Oh, yes. First time I met her, she was 13. Her mother came for help. And this young girl just wore a toque. When I finally got to pull it off one day, here was this bloody scalp. She'd been pulling her hair out by the roots. I found out later on, her mother sold her when she was 9 years old. Mother said, "You're old enough to help. We have no food on the table. Tonight, Uncle Bob is going to spend the night with you." And she said, I don't want to go with Uncle Bob. Mother said, "You don't have a choice. You have to help." For the next 2 years, she was Uncle Bob's victim. All the men he brought to her, and some nights could be 30 men a day. She had to satisfy them. Her way of coping with the pain was pulling the hair out by the roots. She came back at age 15 pregnant. And that young girl today is a mother of 4. She is a beautiful mother. Her children will never go through what she went through. What an amazing woman she has turned to be.
I think a lot of people wonder, like, is God able to put a life back together who has gone through something as horrendous as what you just described?
She has. She has even gone to her mother and reestablished a relationship. And that is beyond my comprehension. How could a mother do that to her own child to start with? But after all these years of all that abuse, for this young girl to go back to her mother and say, "I love you."
That's a miracle.
It is.
Living miracle.
It is.
Now, here you are, 12 years, started to work at 70, and changing people's lives. So many stories. This is the book about your life and the shelter that you created called Baja's Wounded Healer. I know it's out of print right now, but amazing, amazing book of what God's done through your life. What would you say to somebody who any age is feeling a call to do something that they're underqualified for, that people are saying you're crazy, but they can't escape that feeling that, no, God has something for me to do here?
Everybody is capable of helping somebody change their life, regardless of what part of the world you're in. And for God to take me to Mexico, that has never ceased to surprise me, because I still don't speak the language. I still don't speak and understand the culture. Some of it is so beyond making sense. But that's not the point. I have been able to help lives changed. And wherever you are, age is not a factor. If you're breathing, there is something God has for you.
I love that. I say that all the time. I'm like, if you woke up today, then you're alive for a purpose.
Yes.
Dorothy, you're so inspiring. Thank you
Yes.
so much for coming today to share your story. And we're just cheering you on here at 100 Huntley Street.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me. God bless.
Rejoice in the Lord always. Again I will say, rejoice. Let your reasonableness be known to everyone. The Lord is at hand. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there is any excellence, if there is anything worthy of praise, think about these things. What you have learned and received and heard and seen in me, practice these things, and the God of peace will be with you.
There's a verse in Genesis 50:20 that says, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." And that's Dorothy's story in a nutshell. And maybe you've walked through some painful or confusing seasons, and maybe this trauma or loss that's made it hard for you to move forward. I want you to know that God isn't the author of your pain, but He is the redeemer of it. You may not see it yet, but if you let Him, God can take what was meant for harm and turn it into something beautiful, something that brings life, healing, and hope to others. And maybe just maybe your story could become the very reason someone else survives theirs. If you need prayer today, our team would love to stand with you. You can call 1-866-273-4444 or send an email to prayer@crossroads.ca and someone will stand with you. Well, friends, now let's head over to Pastor Robbie Simons for an encouraging word.
Always thankful to be together in the Bible together, to hear from God, and for our lives to be transformed. This week's an important week. We are unpacking a theme on a life that is packed with purpose, the purpose of God and the will of God. So needed in our day, isn't it? Because our world is desperately longing for purpose. So many people, maybe some watching right now, eagerly longing for purpose. Our world has come up empty in this regard. The world makes promises it cannot deliver. It leaves people desperately wanting. So many people, why am I here? What is the reason for my existence on earth? And today in this week, we get to unpack this in a special way, in a very specific text. Again, lots we could talk about, but the Apostle Paul in 2 Corinthians is going to help us as he explains why his life is packed with purpose. I also want you to know this too. As we get into 2 Corinthians 2 today, Paul detailed thus far, he was struggling, he was suffering, he was opposed, he was being attacked, he was tempted with despair and discouragement. This is very important for us because we learn from Paul here. In his serious discouragement, in his serious, again, the point he says, we despaired of life itself. He could have given up. He could have thrown in the towel. He could have said, I'm done, forget this, it's too hard. But now he renews his mind to refresh his heart. He allows the truth of the Bible to bring transformation to his life again as he reminds himself as to why he exists and the purpose he has in Jesus Christ. It's very, very powerful to do this, loved ones. We must continually do this on a daily basis, what we do today and what we do this week, renewing our minds to refresh our heart, that our lives in Christ are packed with purpose. Okay, all that to get into 2 Corinthians chapter 2, listen up, verse 14. Paul says, but thanks be to God who in Christ always leads us in triumphal procession and through us, listen, spreads the fragrance of the knowledge of God everywhere. For we are the aroma of Christ to God among those who are being saved and among those who are perishing. I'll just stop right there. So I want to give you, whet your appetite where we're going this week. Here's a preview on the screen for you right now, okay? Here's a life packed with purpose. Paul details, listen, in the struggle, he reminds himself again that victory is guaranteed in the Lord Jesus Christ. That is so powerful for us. Everything we're doing is worth it in the end because of the gospel, the good news of Jesus Christ. We also learn this. Paul says, listen, my purpose, I am led by God to spread the fragrance of God. Can't wait to unpack for you this week. That's so exciting. God leads us that we carry again the fragrance of God. Point 3, similar but distinct. We are the aroma of Christ to God. When we live for Jesus Christ, the fragrance fills our lives and an aroma rises up into the nostrils of God, and he is delighting in the fragrance that arises from his people and children that serve him. And then you want purpose? Listen, in Christ and the gospel, we've been commissioned by God in the sight of God. God has commissioned us and he is watching us and we speak for him. Again, so much we'll say about this week. You got to come back each day. But Paul, listen, in his suffering, discouragement, his hardship, even his temptation for despair, he's like, wait, why am I here? What's my purpose? What's the reason that I exist? And he reminds himself and us, we have purpose and we have reason to press on and not give up. Again, so needed, a life packed with purpose, ultimately found in Jesus Christ. Come back tomorrow and the next day and the next day as we learn about this together. You are loved.
We're often quick to run to save ourselves, but we're often slow to stay to protect others. The Bible encourages us to pick one another up when we fall, leaving no one behind. If you're needing encouragement, call our 24/7 prayer lines at 1-866-273-4444 or visit crossroads.ca/247prayer. Anytime, anywhere, we're here for you. God created us to be social people. And Jesus Christ gave us the church so that we can thrive together. When Jesus had his disciples, he sent these guys out on a mission, 2 at a time, because you need me and I need you. Depression thrives when you're alone. Suicidal thoughts haunt you when you are alone. But when you are able to reach out to a fellow human being, maybe not even a professional counselor, just someone who listens, and that's who our mentors are. People who listen, just care. They're regular people just like you and I. Being able to connect with another human being is what is going to keep us, and that connection right now is very important.
And we just want to encourage you to reach out to our prayer center if you would like to take advantage of that mentoring. It's not just answering the phones and praying for you or leading you to faith. It is actually journeying through life with you and mentoring you in your faith. And I think that's so needed nowadays.
Yeah, that's awesome. You know, none of us are meant to walk alone. It's so important to have someone who you can look up to, someone who can walk with you and kind of just guide you in the right path. So I'm glad that we can offer that to our viewers and our friends.
Well, we're so excited to tell you about this. This month, we have the Reach Magazine gift catalog, and we're actually putting the choice in your hands. So there's all kinds of thank you gifts to choose from, which is fantastic. We all love that. But today we thought it would be appropriate to focus on this.
Yeah, I just want to say there's some really cool, unique ideas in here, because how many pair of socks can you get and ties can you get? There's something different here, and you're not just giving them a cool gift, you're actually making an investment in this ministry, which is making an investment in the kingdom. So it really is a win-win situation, seriously.
So you're not just talking about a gift for them, you're talking about they could actually give this to someone else. They could re-gift the gift.
Intentionally.
Yes. Love that. Okay, well, who is the baker in your life who would love the world's best Christmas cookies? Or maybe your family would like that very much. And even, I was told, there is a whole chapter on no-bake cookies. So if you don't like to bake, but you like to eat cookies, there it is. So, yeah, check it out. I was looking it over. I saw some pretty simple, easy stuff there. Now, myself, I try not to learn about baking because it's just a dangerous skill to have.
So do you bake at all? Like, is that a thing that you enjoy doing?
When I bake, I'm good at it, but I don't do it very often. Because what happens when you bake great stuff? You eat it.
You eat it.
I know. But still, it's
agreement.
good for presents and people in your family and get-togethers and everything. We want to make sure that you have this gift catalog in your hands. Now, if you're a monthly donor, you already will have it in your hands or on the way.
Right.
But if you're not, you can go to crossroads.ca/reach, and we'll make sure to get that in your hand. There's also some great devotionals by Royal Anthems, our music initiative, and take you right through Advent.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. And I just wanted to throw this out there and let you know that if you do this week, that we can still get you the gifts in time for Christmas.
Right.
There'll be a moment where there'll be a cutoff time, but right now you can still do that. And I think, well, first of all, they've done a beautiful job with the Reach magazine. It's always got great articles and things in there. But I love the way that they've made it multi-purpose. So the one side is the gift catalog and how you can give and help and bless. But on the other side is something for you. Every day during Advent, leading up to Christmas Day, you can just spend a little bit of time with God. And one of the other cool things we have is this wreath ornament. And I don't know if you're still looking to add to your tree, but this is something really beautiful. There's a lot of meaning behind it. And again, you're not just getting a gift, you're making an investment, not just in this ministry, but in the kingdom. So again, we're going to ask you to call 1-800-265-3100 or go to crossroads.ca/give. You can see what we have, and you can make a difference by making a donation today. So
many people find Christmas tough. We want to make sure that we can be there for them, and your support does that. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for your ongoing support of Crossroads, a supporter-funded nonprofit organization and member of the Canadian Centre for Christian Charities. Thanks to faithful people like you, we are able to continue producing 100 Huntley Street. You can write to Crossroads, P.O. Box 5100, Burlington, Ontario, L7R4M2, or visit crossroads.ca to learn more about our programs.